the Foul-Mouthed Aussie, and you're listening to that wrestling podcast, and it fucking sucks!
Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast. It's Money, it's Negron, it's Clyde, and we're going to talk a little wrestling, baby. You guys ready to go? What's up, Negron?
I'm ready. Let's do this, Money.
Clyde, you ready, brother?
Yeah, let's put it in the oven, bro. Turn it on.
Clyde, how was your weekend?
Pretty good, baby. You know, walking around strip clubs, player walking, doing random nonsense. Typical weekend.
Typical wildfire type weekend. Mr. Negron, how's your weekend, brother?
My weekend is great. I can't wait to start barbecuing in a little bit.
Oh, man. You know what? We're going to have to take a drive up to Connecticut. Follow the smoke signals, baby.
Got me hungry. Boy, got me hungry.
Speaking of hungry, guys, I'm hungry to talk a little bit of wrestling with you guys. I've been looking forward to this for the last few days, and now I'm ready to hop into it. Got a lot to get into today, too. Evidently, Undertaker and Goldberg had a little bit of backstage heat after their match the other day at the Super Showdown. Going to touch on that. Okada versus Jericho. We're going to touch on that. Matt Riddle has said a bunch of things to Goldberg recently. Going to touch on that. The AEW and NJPW dilemma. Going to hop into that a little bit. Got WWE is thinking about reviving the Attitude Era during the third hour of Raw. We're definitely going to touch on that. Going to play a little bit of random wrestling knowledge with Clyde in segment 2. And in segment number 3, we're going to be in here with Mike Britt to talk a little bit of Super Showdown. So are you gentlemen ready to hop into all this? Mr. Negron, you ready, brother?
Oh, I'm always ready.
Clyde, are you ready, brother?
Yes, sir. Ready to go, brother.
So let's hop right into this right away. I don't know if you gentlemen seen the news, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this, Negron. Did you see the news that after the Undertaker and Goldberg match at the Super Showdown the other day, that they evidently had a heated argument backstage at Gorilla Position?
Oh, yes, I did hear about the argument. And the argument is genuine, it's decent. It's because, you have two great wrestlers. And I'm going to call them great, because they are. But you have these guys, they're in their 50s, and they're trying to put on a 20-minute match. A 20-minute match, at least. And they couldn't really do it. Now, if this was 10 years ago, it probably would have been a different match. But for right now, in this day and age, I'm sorry. They just got to hang it up.
Yeah, I agree, brother. I think, unfortunately, I think Undertaker's face said it all after the 3 count, even though he won the match. When he popped up, just the look on his face, I think that pretty much told the story of the entire match. And Clyde, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, on the argument and just the whole angle in general.
Yeah, I'm agree with everybody, man. I think it is time maybe to retire for both of these guys. Somebody could have got really hurt in their the things that I seen where they were botching moves. Some of that stuff could have been, they could have ended up in a wheelchair, man. Kudos to both of them. They were in excellent condition, but age, it's coming for all of us, brother. There's no escape.
It sure is.
From that.
I wonder what part of it, I noticed it was extremely hot there. Corey was talking about it throughout the entire show. You could kind of see the sweat messed up a spot earlier, or maybe it was earlier in the show with Cesaro when he was trying to press slam the Miz. You seen him slip off the top of his hands. I don't know if you guys seen that, but with the sweat, do you guys attribute any of the botches to the sweat or just more to age at this point?
Oh, I think the heat. I think the heat played a factor for sure.
Negron, what do you think, brother?
Absolutely. If you saw the beginning of the show where people were sitting and were in the middle of the ring. In the middle of the ring was 101, maybe 102 degrees. That's hot. Usually wrestlers, when you're wrestling inside of a dome or an arena, the air conditioning is on. It's comfortable. It's comfortable for everybody. But look at you. You look at these guys. Goldberg is sweating profusely. Undertaker, I know he was there. He was sweating, but Undertaker wasn't so much as Goldberg was. But a lot of sweat, a lot of moves weren't hitting right. It was was an ugly match. It really was an ugly match.
Yeah, I think it's just a combination of the ring rust, the age, and the sweat, and it was just kind of the perfect storm to create the conditions for a horrible match, brother. I think it's pretty much what happened there. And speaking of like people being dangerous and not safe in the ring, Matt Riddle's been taking a lot of shots at Goldberg the last few days. I don't know if you guys seen the little picture he tweeted out in the little video where he was talking about like he basically called Goldberg the worst wrestler ever and said he wasn't joking around. And Clyde, I'm dying to hear your thoughts on that. What do you think about Riddle's words?
I think Matt Riddle, man, he's working. That's what he's doing. He did the same thing not that long ago with Brock Lesnar. I think he's trying to, and it's smart, really, just get his name out there. But he might want to watch it a little bit, especially with Goldberg, man. It almost come off as a little disrespectful to somebody who, okay, the match was bad, it happens, but I just feel like he's getting his name out there, and it's working. We're talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. You go on any social media, you see it. So he's doing a good job, but you better watch it, man. Goldberg, and especially Brock, they might come at him in the backstage for real life.
Hey, I guess it could have, but I will say this: Matt Riddle, he can handle himself pretty good. We have documented evidence of that too. So, I guess he's just calling him out for the botches and the potential injuries. And Negron, I would love to hear your thoughts on on this whole situation.
Matt Riddle is a phenomenal wrestler. I've watched him for a couple years now. I've seen him in Connecticut a couple of times, and for somebody like Matt Riddle who was in NXT, he is definitely putting his name out there. He's trying to hook, line, sinker people just to listen to him and watch him. And, for him saying what he was saying to Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, I'm going to be honest with you. Brock Lesnar is not a guy to mess with. Behind closed doors, this guy is a beast. He is an animal. And Goldberg, he doesn't take things lightly. If they see him, if they see Matt Riddle, I will be amazed that they don't beat this guy up and do like an old school style. Beat the guy and throw him out the back door.
Yeah, shoot style. Man, you know what? I could see it. I could see it going either way, gentlemen. That's why I love having the different opinions and different insights on here. And speaking of things going either way, have you guys heard that AEW is still undecided? They could still go either way on recognizing Johnny Moxley's IWPG United States Championship. And Clyde, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think it's a good move or a bad move? You think AEW should recognize Moxley's title?
Yeah, I really do. But both sides got to be okay with it for it to happen. And I always thought it was a little odd, man, AEW being so open with their talent wrestling in other places, which is a good thing, but like we talked about before, it could be a bad thing. What if Moxley goes to New Japan and he gets injured or something, like that, and then he's not on AEW no more?
Right. Well, the way I see it is, I think that he signed the NJPW deal before he signed the AEW deal, so I don't know the exact length of it. And I think the deal is with AEW not wanting to recognize it is because NJPW has such close ties to ROH. And Negron, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the situation.
Well, you're really on like a double-edged sword with this, because Moxley is the IGPW U.S. champion, and will AEW recognize him as a United States champion? We don't know. As far as we know, in AEW, there's only one title, and that's the world title. So, will they recognize him as United States champion? Possibly, possibly not. So, we'll see what happens in the near future with this.
Yeah, well said, brother. And while we're on the topic of all this NJPW stuff, I don't know if you guys had a chance to take it in or not, but Okada defeated Jericho and retained the IWPG heavyweight title the other night. And really what was a great match here, and I'll just kind of read you the finish here. Jericho locked on a walls of Jericho while he transitioned into a lion tamer before Okada was able to get free. Jericho tried for the Judas effect, which Okada blocked before Y2J ducked under a Rainmaker and tried for a Codebreaker. Then Okada rolled him up for the win. And so what do you guys think about, Jericho venturing over to Japan, and what do you guys think about, just the match as a whole? And Clyde, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, the match was good, very good, actually, and that's to be expected with two world-class competitors like that. I was pulling for Jericho, but I totally understand why, he wasn't able to go over in the match. I get it, but, I was pulling for Jericho, man.
Negron, your thoughts, brother?
I agree with Clyde. Would it have been awesome to Jericho to win the IGP heavyweight title? 100%. You know what? I think Jericho is a phenomenal wrestler. We all knew that he wasn't going to win. Could there be a rematch down the road? Absolutely. Or could they even wrestle in AEW? Who knows? I think a rematch is in the works, and all around it was a great match.
Yeah, speaking of who knows and what could be great, brother, I don't know if you guys will be looking forward to something like this, but did you see what Mick Foley said recently? He said the WWE might revive the Attitude Era. And I want to read you guys a quick quote real quick here. He gave an interview to TalkSport.com and revealed that WWE plans to make the third hour of Raw edgier in the near future. Here's a quote. The idea is that the third hour is going to get rougher, wilder, and more unpredictable, Foley said. When I was GM, I knew that people were breaking towards the SmackDown show because it was the darling of the internet. The idea was, why don't you try having a third hour? It was like a giant albatross around your neck. The third hour is really difficult. I think it's an idea to have the third hour more unpredictable and more like the Attitude Era. And Clyde, I would love to hear your thoughts on WWE kind of transitioning 1 hour of programming every week to, I guess, attract more edgier fans. What do you think about that?
I like it, and I don't. And I'll tell you why I like it. Because it's going to help the ratings, and they're probably going to be forced to do it anyway to compete with everything that's going on. Not just AEW, all the forms of entertainment that are available. The reason I don't like it so much is for the kids, man, basically. I mean, it's been a PG era for a long time, and I don't want to get to a point where, MILF and Cookies is on and I can't let my daughter watch wrestling anymore,
Yeah, I know what you mean, brother. And it's kind of like I was having a little back and forth conversation with somebody on Facebook the other day. Forgive me off the top, I can't remember who it was, but we was just talking about like how AEW and WWE aren't really directly competing because it's almost like WWE is more geared towards kids and families, and AEW is more, going to be TV 14 at this point is the way they're heading. And, so they're kind of like competing for different eyeballs almost. And Negron, I'd love to hear your thoughts on like this whole situation. Do you think WWE should revive the Attitude Era at all?
Well, I'll tell you like this. We all grown up in the beginning stages of the WWF or the Hogan era. We were in the Hogan era, the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels era, the Attitude Era, and the era that we are in right now. I look at it like this way: if they want to get a little more edgier, I can accept it. On the third hour, I can accept it because on that third hour, you really need to start pulling in the ratings. And for wrestling fans like me, Clyde, you, everybody else who listens to this podcast, will be a little bit better because we can actually start seeing some good old wrestling, because even back in the golden era, where there wasn't so much blood, and then when the Attitude Era there was a lot of blood. I think blood needs to be incorporated again, but I think it should just be in a main event status, nothing in between. Main event status, and I think they'll be great.
Yeah, hopefully the blood is not incorporated by some type of botch like we've seen on that Super Showdown, brother. But yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I think there's a place for a little bit edgier programming. I think WWE is just kind of trying to fill everything out right now and see what's going to happen. And I think what's kind of been forgotten over the years is, like you said, me, you, Clyde, people our age who are wrestling fans and WWE comes off a little bit, hokey-ish to us now as adults. We kind of want to see some more real and edgier programming, and hopefully that's what we'll get in the future, guys. And I'd like to thank both of y'all for taking a few moments to join us on this segment. We're going to hop out, pay a few bills. We will be right back with segment number 2 to play a little bit of random wrestling knowledge with Clyde. And thanks so much, Mr. for joining us on this segment, brother. And yeah, guys, we will be right back after this.
Coming Tuesdays to That Wrestling Podcast Network, a family that will push you over the edge.
Damn it, Jezebel, where's my dinner?
The Good Times.
God bless you, Larry Flint.
The Madness.
Damn it, Jezebel, I said 2 cans of Grizzly Mint.
The Personal Moments.
Damn it, could I get some privacy?
Johnny Wildfire and Jezebel Wildfire are the Wildfires.
Somebody call the damn police.
Hello, I'm Richard, but you can call me Dick. And I'm going to talk about something today that not a lot of men really like to talk about. But sometimes after a long day in the saddle, I get a little itching in my nether region. And that's why I got with my friend Peter here and created a wonderful product. You tell him about it, Peter.
Well, my name's Peter. I'll tell you, you got an itch and you get it up. There ain't nothing better for that itch than Texas ball cream.
That's right, it's Texas Ball Cream. You can pick us up at all your local retailers. Just ask the pharmacist for Texas Ball Cream.
Welcome back. Segment number 2. We still have Clyde with us. We still got Negron. And now we're going to do something a little bit special. Are you guys ready to have some fun this segment, Mr. Negron? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
All right, guys, we like to call this one, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this segment before, but this is my favorite segment of the day, your favorite segment of the day. We call this one Random Wrestling Knowledge with Clyde. Are you guys ready?
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, who wants to go first? Which one of you gentlemen?
We'll let Mr. Negron go first.
All right.
Alrighty, I am ready. Let's do this.
Audience, every day we ask Clyde, in this case it's going to be Clyde and Negron, 3 random wrestling related questions, and they're literally coming from out of nowhere, so feel free to play along at home, and here we go. Negron, question number 1, brother. Who was the first WWE Undisputed Champion?
The very first WWE Undisputed Champion. I'm going to go with Chris Jericho.
Mr. Producer Man, show me Chris Horatio. Let's see what the Producer Man says. All right. Good job, Negron. Starting out
All
1
right.
for 1.
Yes.
Clyde, putting the pressure on you. You ready, brother?
Ready to go?
Here we go. Question 1. How many times has Jericho held the Intercontinental Championship?
Let's see. Mr. Jericho is a 9-time Intercontinental Champion. It's my final answer, baby.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 9 times.
That's right. Thank you, Jerry.
I love it, man. This is like 2 wrestling historians going blow for blow. This is like 2 legends, almost like Goldberg and... no, never mind. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Jerry, question number 2, brother. Here we go. How many times did Macho Man win the Intercontinental Championship?
How many times did Macho Man win the Intercontinental Championship? I'm going to say 1 time.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 1 time. All right, Jerry. And you know what's cool about that is really like he's widely considered to be one of the best Intercontinental Champions of all time, not because of how many times he held it, but because by him holding it that 1 time, it just adds another layer of prestige to that belt. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree with that.
All right, Clyde, are you ready for question number 2, brother? You got the pressure on you. Oh, Negron's coming to play ball today, baby.
I'm ready to go, brother.
Okay, here we go. What year did Macho Man win the WWF King of the Ring tournament? What year was that, brother?
WWF King of the Ring tournament. Let's see. I'm going to say it was 1989. Final answer.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 1989.
You're talking about Rita.
Oh, first wrong answer of the day. You gentlemen were both out just firing today, though. It was actually 1987. I guess maybe in that segment, like in that case from now on, if someone misses one, I should give like Negron a chance to steal or vice versa. You know what I mean? I should have hit Negron with it, but my bad. Yeah, 1987. Okay, Jerry, you ready for question number 3, brother?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. What year did John Cena win the WWE Championship for the first time? What year did that happen in?
Oh, what year? I may get this one wrong. What year? I'm going to say 2000 and... I'm going to say 3 or 4.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 2003 or 4.
Yes, take it, Jerry. Take it. Take it away, don't you?
I apologize, Jerry, brother, but it's actually 2005, but you did good today, 2 for 3. Now we're going to pass it back to...
I was close.
You was very close. Now, Clyde, here's a chance to tie it. I guess if you tie here, maybe we'll have to have some kind of bonus question or something. But here we go, brother. How many times has John Cena, question number 3, brother, how many times has John Cena won the United States Championship? How many times, brother?
Let's see, John Cena. I'm going to say he's a 3-time United States champion. Final answer.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 3 times. Oh, good try, though, brother. He's actually a 5-time United States champion, brother.
By God.
What do you think, man? I mean, what do you think about that, guys? So, Jerry, you're the winner today. Do you have any closing, do you have any thoughts here? Do you want to close this out for the Random Wrestling Knowledge segment, brother? The floor is yours.
I think we should do on this podcast, whoever has the most wins at the end of the month should go up, should be the champion, and then they should have a challenger. The champion should have a challenger every week.
I
agree with that.
I think so, brother. I think we're going to start expanding this random wrestling knowledge out a little bit, keeping stats. And, of course, as of right now, Clyde is your all-time leader in random wrestling knowledge correct answers because he's played so much. But, yeah, then we'll keep, the head-to-head competition records. And like you said, maybe every month we'll crown a champion. What do you think about that, Clyde?
I love it, man. I love it. Honestly, since I've started to compete, Mike Britt and Mr. Jerry here, I ain't doing so good. So I like the idea, man. I like the idea. Bring in our guests and get them rolling.
Let's do it, fellas. But, gentlemen, I want to tell both of you guys, thank you so much for taking time to join us today. We're going to hop out here in a second and take a break. We're going to come back with Mike Britt to wrap the show up with a little bit of Super Showdown talk. We're going to review that show with Mike Britt. But, Clyde, do you have any closing thoughts before you hop out today?
Yeah, just everybody out there, man, give us a like, give us a subscription, and thanks to Mr. Negron and Mike Britt, as always, man, friends and colleagues, and thanks for helping us out with the podcast, brother.
And Mr. Negron, before we get your closing words, I just got one thing to say to you, brother. Now I'm dying to hear your closing thoughts, brother.
My closing thoughts, I will say Wrestling Super Showdown was a okay pay-per-view, and I really think that Taker Goldberg should officially retire.
I agree, brother, 100%. I hate to say that, but I agree, brother, 100%. We're going to hop out, pay a few bills, and we will be right back to wrap the show up with Mr. Mike Britt. Introducing the one and only Lock in a Sock. Don't be caught without Lock in a Sock when you need it. Lock in a Sock is fun for the whole family. Even Grandma loves Lock in a Sock. Don't be fooled by these cheap imitations. There is only one Lock in a Sock. For only 3 easy payments of $199.99, you can have your very own Lock in a Sock. But wait, there's more. Call in the next 10 minutes and receive free shipping. That's right, free shipping and processing. Just call 1-800-976-LOCK. Operators are standing by. Lock in a Sock. The following is a paid advertisement for Scrotal Treatment Centers of America. That Wrestling Podcast is not responsible for any products in this ad.
Do you suffer from ACE, also known as atypical constant ejaculation? Well, you are not alone. And now, thanks to the Scrotal Treatment Center of America's patented new Semenese technology, you can get your problem taken care of. It's a series of 3 invasive laser-guided injections that'll have you up and running in no time. That's the Scrotal Treatment Centers of America. Not only am I a spokesman, but I'm a client.
Welcome back! Special guest this segment, Mr. Mike Britt, all the way from Mobile, Alabama. How you doing today, brother?
Man, I am doing awesome. Good to be here, Dave. Good to talk about some wrestling, baby.
It's always good to talk some wrestling with you, dude. I've been looking forward to this all week, actually, brother, because I know you and I have been going back and forth about this Super Showdown and kind of what was going to happen. Both of us was really excited about seeing Undertaker and Goldberg, so what better man to hop into this with than you, brother?
That's right, baby. That's right.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and hop right into it, man. I don't know if you had a chance to check out the pre-show or not, but the Usos defeated the Revival via pinfall. And what was really a pretty good back-and-forth match, man. The crowd was really invested in this one. I thought it was a pretty good way to kind of kick the show off, before they started off with the real show and that Universal Championship match between Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin. And did you have a chance to take in the Universal Championship match, and what was your thoughts on that, brother?
Yeah, I did, man. I thought it was pretty good. The ending was different. How they brought the referee in the match like that. I haven't seen that done in a while, especially in WWE. So it was a little different. I didn't know how that was going to go actually, but I thought it was a pretty solid match. Seth is a phenomenal talent, and it didn't have much of a build up really, the storyline, but I guess it was that way because they just needed to fill a card up, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that the match kind of went about as good as it could go for kind of two guys that was seemingly thrown together. And the referee angle was pretty cool. I don't know how many years it's been since I've seen a referee actually say something back to a wrestler like that and kind of have his own little moment in the ring like that to where it's actually part of the match. That was pretty cool, brother. And I had something else I was going to say about. Oh, you know what I thought actually about this match too? I thought here was WWE's chance, one and only chance, in my opinion, to give Corbin the title briefly. I thought if Corbin somehow like pulled some shenanigans and went over on Rollins, that Lesnar could come out and immediately cash in on Corbin or something like that, you know, and kind of make his reign really brief. Just because if they ever give that title to Corbin, this is just my opinion, that championship to Corbin rather, I don't see it, you know, drawing or garnering more attention or drawing more eyeballs for the show overall. And that's not necessarily a knock on Corbin. That's just kind of the way I view it, brother.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. And I did like the way they did the whole Brock Lesnar thing, because I think the Money in the Bank that Brock's got, the suitcase, the Money in the Bank, I think that's one of the most entertaining things he's done in a long time, man, other than Suplex City and, you know, his basic, repertoire in the ring. So I kind of like seeing that side of Brock, and I was kind of thinking, well, I don't want it to go right now. It's kind of working good for him. You're seeing a different side of Brock. You know, back to the referee thing again that we were talking about. You know, Charles Robinson is still a referee with WWE, and the man is like Dick Clark. He doesn't age. He looks the same he did 30 years ago in WCW, but he was the last referee that would really get up in somebody's face and push them back and things like that, because I know him and Flair used to have them segments where Flair would push him and Charles Robinson would stand up and push him back. So that was kind of cool to see that with a referee.
It was kind of cool, man. And like you said, I think Charles Robinson is the one that immediately comes to mind when you think about those types of back and forths in the ring like that, brother. And another thing, like I want to touch back on with you real quick, since you was talking about Lesnar in the briefcase. Here's what I was wanting to say since you brought that up. It's almost like they took and cloned the Universal Championship. You know, it's almost like now they have Lesnar the champion and Rollins the champion. And let me finish this and kind of fill you in why I think that, because like, what's the odds of Brock Lesnar failing and cashing in? You know what I'm saying? So it's basically like he's got like a little belt there on his side by carrying that briefcase around, because I don't see any way in hell Brock Lesnar fails to cash in, brother.
No, me either, man. Actually, I'm gonna say it's genius booking. It's genius booking on WWE, because I think it's a win-win for both of them. It keeps Brock in the title picture, and like you said, it's like cloning the Universal title. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's actually good booking.
Yeah, I agree, brother. I'm really enjoying that, you know, that aspect of the angle between Rollins and Lesnar. And speaking of something that was pretty enjoyable, did you have a chance to take in the Intercontinental Championship match between the Demon Finn Balor and Andrade Cien Almas, brother? Did you have a chance to check that one out?
I did, man. That was a really good match, man. I'm a fan of both of these guys. Very athletic, and it was a great match, and I figured it would be.
Yeah, I didn't see any way that Andrade would go over in this one, you know, especially considering that the Demon came out. I believe the Demon is undefeated now. Does that make the Demon, is that 4 or 5-0?
I believe so, man. And I love the way they keep that special like that, man. It's really neat the way they keep that special, the Demon.
Yeah,
Bring him out.
Yeah, I don't think they should pull that gimmick out every day either, man. And I almost think that they should kind of build a Demon streak, kind of like similar to the Undertaker streak. You know, why not? You know, kind of give something else to create a little more attention, a little more buzz.
I agree with you 100%. That's a really good idea, man. Kind of like an Undertaker streak, like you were saying. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
So after that, dude, we had the match between Shane McMahon and Roman Reigns, and honestly, I was not looking forward to this match, dude. I was thinking, what are they doing throwing these guys together like this? They're both kind of bigger, slower moving. You know, Shane's not necessarily bigger, but he's a little older, a little slower moving in the ring. But man, what a match, dude! This one kind of caught me off guard. I enjoyed it.
It was, man. It was a sleeper match. You know, before I thought, well, they ain't got really much of a storyline between them. But once they showed the video package before the match, I thought, well, yeah, they do. They do got something here, because he knocked out Vince, and Roman saying that he's a spoiled kid, and Shane was spoiled, and he's got everything he wanted all his life. And as I started watching that video package, I was like, man, I've been sleeping on this, because there is actually a story there. And surprisingly, it was a pretty good match, man. And I've always thought Roman was a good worker anyway. I think he's a good worker. I just don't, like all the other fans, I think he's just been shoved by our throat for the last few years. But I don't really think that's his fault. But I think he's a good worker, and I think Shane's a good worker. And surprisingly, it was a good match, and I liked the finish. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah,
it was really cool. I like how they keep throwing Drew McIntyre into this angle with them too, man. And I feel like, eventually, why not let Roman and Drew feud for a while too, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's two big bulls right there, man. Most definitely.
Yeah, speaking of a couple of big guys, I don't know if you've seen that after that, Lars Sullivan came out and defeated the Lucha House Party all by himself. Did you have a chance to check that out?
Yeah, I did see that, man. That was okay. It was pretty fair. Yeah, that one went about how I thought it would go too. But I was surprised at the end when Lucha, jumped him and did what they did. I triple teamed him like that because I didn't see that coming. So that was pretty cool. But then Lars going back after them and attacking them and slamming them on the ramp and everything like that. Yeah, I think they're probably where they need to be on Lars right now. To continue building him up as this monster and leading him on to bigger and greener pastures.
Do you feel like they've kind of crowned Lars as like their next monster? And if so, do you think there's a chance that at any time in the immediate future he kind of passes like Braun and Lashley on the monster scale, for WWE?
I would definitely like to see him in the mix, and I can't wait till we get to the segment to talk about Braun and Bobby because I got a lot to say about that. But yes, he's definitely going to be in that category, and if booked right, yes, I could definitely see him surpassing those guys.
Speaking of correct booking here, did you see the Triple H versus Randy Orton match? And, a lot of this card really going into this match, I'm not going to lie, I just really wasn't that excited about it. But this one turned out to be pretty good too also, brother. I really enjoyed it. And they have a lot of history in the past between these guys too. So, they can kind of rekindle that fire at any point, in my opinion. And I feel like it came out pretty good, brother.
I did too, and I might be a little bit different, but I believed it was going to be a good match anyway because Randy Orton is such an unbelievable talent, and I know a lot of people ain't Triple H fans, and I wouldn't say that I'm a huge Triple H fan, but he has great ring psychology, and the time that he spent with Flair with Evolution just made him that much better to me, and I'm a big fan of that period when Triple H was in Evolution, but he's got great ring psychology. Triple H is really good in the ring. I enjoyed the match. It wasn't a fast-paced match, but it was a lot of psychology involved, and to me, it could have been one of the best matches on the card. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it might have stole the show, brother, and this is just my personal opinion, but I enjoyed it way more than I enjoyed the Triple H and Batista match. I walked away with this one a little more satisfied, brother.
Yeah, me too, man. And you know what? I was really happy with the finish. I'm glad Triple H didn't win because where does that leave Randy Orton? Randy Orton's he's a lot younger. He's still got a lot in the tank. And I love the clean finish. I love it wasn't a wacky finish. I just love the fact that he just beat Triple H.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. No sledgehammers, nothing involved. He just beat Triple H, and that was that.
That's right. and in my opinion, he should because that's where he's at in his career, and Triple H is a little older and slower. So I thought that was great booking, and it was a good match.
And like you said, Randy's still got a little bit of wick left on the candle per se. And really, this is something that's kind of overlooked and overrated. And I think Corey Graves actually touched on the show. What is Randy Orton, like a 13 or 14-time world champion? I mean, he has a chance really in the end when it's all said and done to be the winningest champion, the most crowned WWE champion of all time.
Easy, and very seldom do you see Randy Orton make a mistake. He is flawless. And his father was the same way. His father was. I'm not going to say Randy Orton is underrated, but his father was very underrated because he was very, very good. It's just the roles that he was put into. But his father would get over people really good. And Randy Orton, man, he could sell too. I mean, he could sell with the best of them. So, yeah, man, Randy Orton could very well surpass that, and because the guy's still got, like you said, he's got a lot of wick on the candle, man, a lot of fuel in the tank, and he can keep going, man. And I don't see Randy Orton jumping ship. I mean, he's WWE through and through. So, yeah, he could surpass a Cena or surpass a Flair if they wanted to do that.
Yeah, well said, brother, and huge props and a huge shout out to Cowboy Bob Orton right there too, brother. What a guy he was, man. If you guys out there, if any of you folks are a little younger, hadn't had a chance to really check out any of Bob Orton's work, go back and look at it, man. Phenomenal wrestler. After that, we had Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley, brother, in a match I know you've been dying to touch on. And what's your thoughts on that one?
Well, I'll tell you. I'm a fan of both of these guys. I'm not going to get into how WWE has misused Braun, but they've misused a lot of people. But I'm a big fan of Braun. I got to meet Braun real briefly in New Orleans, WrestleMania 34, and I actually met Bobby Lashley a couple years ago. You love the way I name drop, don't you? I was able to meet.
You've met them all, brother. You've met them all, yeah. Mike. Okay, go ahead now. Sorry.
I met Bobby Lashley a couple years ago before he re-signed with WWE. I think he was at TNA or in Impact. And super nice guy, man. But I tell you, I love this match because I think people forget that Bobby is a great wrestler. He really is a great wrestler. And normally Braun just squashes people. But I'm a fan of Braun too. But I tell you, man, when you watch this match, you can really see the wrestling ability of Bobby Lashley, man, because to me, he really dominated most of the match until the finish at the end. I mean, he stood toe to toe with Braun, and really, in my opinion, out wrestled him. Kind of even exposed Braun a little bit.
I was going to use that word. Exactly.
Talent. Yeah, he's phenomenal talent.
He did kind of expose Braun a little bit, and like you said, it almost made you realize the type of athlete and the type of maneuvers that Lashley can pull off, dude. Like, so watching this match, like it's almost like Lashley carried it to the finish, and of course Braun, came through in the finish. But yeah, man, these two guys, two big, heavy, strong monsters, just going at it in the ring, man, and I totally enjoyed the match.
I did too, man. It reminds me of those, back in the 80s, some of these smaller guys wouldn't have never made it. And I don't get me wrong, I love the way wrestling is right now, where you don't have to be a 300-pound monster. But it reminded me of one of those 80s matches, man, of two big guys slugging it up, like an Ultimate Warrior versus a Hogan or something like that. I'm a big fan of these big guys, man, pounding each other. So I enjoyed the match, man. It was great.
Well said, like a throwback hoss fight, man, and like and I know today's wrestling has trended more towards smaller, more technical wrestlers, which is very exciting in its own way. But there is still a place for these big Goliaths to be going at it, brother, and hopefully that never goes anywhere and that never changes, man.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you.
Okay, after that we had the match that I was looking forward to on the card, was the Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler match. And did you have a chance to take this one in? And if so, what is your thoughts on it, brother?
I did, man. I thought it was a great match, man. I was a little surprised with the interference there, but then when I seen that that it's leading up to a cage match, I thought that was good booking, man. But both these guys could go, man. They're phenomenal. Kofi's the world champion for a reason, and Dolph Ziggler, man, I think he's one of the most underrated wrestlers ever, man. He's great. He doesn't hurt anybody in the ring. He's never. He's just a great technician and a good talent, good on the mic, man. I think he should have had a lot more championships underneath his belt than what he had, man, because he's great. He could be part-time and just jump in there and do it with the best of them, man. So I like where they're going with this, man. I think these guys match up pretty good. They're about the same size and both good wrestlers. So I liked it. I enjoyed the match. I figured that would be a good one. I actually thought that would be the best one on the card, man. But I'm going to have to lean more towards the Triple H and Randy. I enjoyed that one more. But it was a good match, man. They matched up really well.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I did think it was going to be the best match on the card. After, looking back in hindsight, wasn't the best match on the card. And, at the time, I was kind of wondering why they had a little bit of interference like that as well. And, once Dolph kind of got on the mic and cleared things up a little bit there later on the show, I was like, okay, here we go here, brother. But the thing that I was kind of, I guess most impressed with was, and excuse me for one moment here, what was it like, I'm so sorry, I lost my train of thought, dude. I had like a little segment, a little back and forth clip here pulled up from the match, and I was going to read it to you here, brother, but I lost it. But yeah, man, when Kofi went over there, dude, I think they're building for something bigger here a little later with Kofi and Dolph. And really, Dolph is not necessarily just underappreciated, but I think really like WWE has just dropped the ball with him to a point to where it really exposes like how they don't have their finger on the pulse of their audience. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. I agree with you, man. They, one thing, WWE has just got so much talent, man, and they'll invest in a guy for like a month and have him going on a good story, and boom, they'll just drop it. You're like, what the hell happened? I'm not a huge, perfect example. I'm not a huge Robert Roode fan, but the guy's great in the ring. And he's another one that had some buzz about him coming out of NXT, and he gets in WWE, and he gets on the big show, Raw and SmackDown, what have you, but then they just kind of lose him in the mix, just like they have done Nakamura, just like they've done Rusev, and on and on and on and on. They just got an abundance pool of talent, man, and they can't spend enough time that a wrestler needs. I think that's not to jump on AEW, but I think that's what AEW's got going in their favor, man. They're not so overcrowded with so much talent where they can let the wrestler actually develop, it seems like, and what I've seen from AEW at this point anyway, should I say.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that right there, bro, because like you said, almost having sometimes, bigger isn't always better, brother, in the case of like a, 300-man roster, because like you said, you only have 6-7 hours of television programming every week, and it's so easy to lose guys like Dolph, like Nakamura in the shuffle. And, looking back, I think maybe 5 or 10 years from now, maybe even WWE and some of their executives might be kicking themselves in the butt thinking, why didn't we do a little more with Dolph? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because I'm going to tell you, man, the talent pool is so deep in WWE, man. A mid-carder can leave and go be a superstar, Cody Rhodes. And I'm not going to say he was a mid-carder, but he was not being used correctly. You give that guy the attention and the TV time that he needs, and boom, look, you got a bona fide superstar. And
I think that's why WWE are tying all these guys down to contracts, because they know this. Because they got so much talent. These guys, even somebody at a mid-card level, and I hate to use that word as a mid-card level because it's only because where they're being placed, not really their talent. But you take these guys and let them go anywhere else and get the TV time that they deserve and time for their character to blossom on TV, they're bona fide superstars, man.
Yeah, it's almost like the WWE has like 5 companies worth of superstars, brother. You know what I mean?
It really has. I think it's coming back to bite them that they bought everybody out and killed their competition, man.
Yeah, so I don't know if you had a chance to take in the match after that, dude, but Mansoor won the 50-man battle royal in what was kind of a surprise, but, I guess because he's from Saudi Arabia, of course. But, man, what a moment for the crowd there, regardless of what you think about him. I saw people crying in the crowd, and did you take that match in? And, I thought it was kind of a special moment for him.
I did, man. I think it was great. I think they did the right thing. I think it was good booking, and I felt true emotions in that, man. You could see people in the audience crying, and man, whenever you can touch into a human emotion like that, it's a beautiful thing. Even if you're a fan watching it on TV, you're like, hey, I wasn't there. I'm not from Saudi Arabia. But, man, what a beautiful moment. That's great. But I love real emotions in our entertainment. And whenever you can strike a chord with somebody's emotions, whether you hate a guy or you love a guy or whatever, whenever you can do that in any form of entertainment, I think it's a beautiful thing. It's just like watching a sad movie or a happy, feel-good movie. And that's what they did, and I think they made the right move. I enjoyed that battle royal more when it got to about 15, 20 men, where you could really watch it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a fan.
For the first few moments, I was kind of thinking, man, I hope this damn ring don't collapse. That's what
Yeah, man, that was a lot of beef in the ring right there, man. Let me tell you, that's a lot of poundage going on there.
Yeah, I'm loving Big Otis, man. I thought his little few spots in there was awesome, also.
He's great, man. He's great, and for what I read and hear, I think everybody loves him backstage, man.
So speaking of what was supposed to be great, and I don't know exactly how it came out in your book, but I walked away a little disappointed in this one. Just going to speak honestly with you. But the Undertaker defeated Goldberg via pinfall, and I want to hear your. I've been dying to hear your thoughts on this match, knowing your roots with WCW and how you're an old school fan of guys like Taker. And what did you think about these two legends clashing, brother?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I was really, really looking forward to it. And in my opinion, with everything that's going on in the WWE, I was more excited about these legends coming back than anything. Let me just throw out there, I wish it would have been Sting and Taker, which I think would have been a lot better match. But in saying that, I was very excited about the match. I thought the nostalgia of the entrances was great. Even though the Saudi Arabia audience was a little bit quieter, I think if it would have been in the States, you would have got a bigger pop and it would have been louder. But it's always a great thing to see Taker come out, and if you never have witnessed him, well, I'm sure you have, to be in an arena and just hear that bell ring, it's just something special about it, that gong when he enters. So to say that the nostalgia of their entrances was great. I love the beginning of the match. I loved Goldberg's intensity. I love the way he wasn't one of these wrestlers that was kind of intimidated by the Undertaker like a lot of them are, and have that look in their eye like, oh, what did I get myself into? I love the way he got in his face. I love Goldberg's intensity. I wouldn't expect anything less. I love the way it started. I think the first half was really good. Second half, not so much. I'm like with everybody else. I think on the jackhammer, I think Taker could have really got hurt. I don't know who to place that blame on. I think their timing was off a little bit in the end. I think ring rust had a little bit to play in it. I think their sweat and the blood that was pouring off of Goldberg's head made them slippery at times. But it just seems like the beginning part of the match was a lot better than the end. I just hope that it doesn't come out anybody was really hurt. I hate that it was botched at the end. Saying that, I thought there was some good spots in it. I love the way Taker raised up after the spear. I thought that was just classic. I love the way Goldberg kicked out of the tombstone. It's getting a lot of heat for the botch ending, but I think it's being lost that there was some special moments in it also. Maybe if it had been a shorter match, maybe they could have got away with it. But I think the length of the match, could have hurt them, because Goldberg has never been a technician. He has never been someone to carry a match. He has always been carried. He's more of a Tyson that comes out and knocks you out in the first minute. And anything that goes past 5 minutes is not good with Goldberg.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it too, brother. Like, first of all, before the match even started, I totally enjoyed Undertaker's entrance, man. That had me invested in the match. Just seeing that, I thought it was very beautiful and very well done. And once the match kicked off, dude, I was thinking the same thing. Like, Undertaker Goldberg rather came out with a couple of quick spears. I was like, okay, here we go. Let's have this match be like the similar to the Goldberg and Lesnar match from was it maybe a year and a half ago. That match was short, tight, and sweet, but I swear it was the most memorable match on that card. I know that. It doesn't have to be long to be memorable. A couple big spears by Goldberg. Why not Taker come through with a choke slam and a tombstone and end it or something right after that? I think it would have been perfect. But like you said, man, it's just the sweat and the blood and everything, and these gentlemen both being older, they just couldn't pick each other up and get each other over on these big moves after wrestling for 5 to 10 minutes, and it was just kind of disappointing to see that like that from some guys that I grew up watching as a child, and kind of I view them in a different light. I just hate seeing them in that manner.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like up to that point, the two bots, and I think it was just really two moves that was really botched at the end, and it looked like when Taker went to choke slam at the end, that the timing was off, and Taker barely got him up, and like you said, when Goldberg went to Tombstone Taker, man, it's just they had some botch ending, and I hate that, man. I hate that because my hat goes off to both these guys, and I still think at their age they're a huge draw, but you kind of got to ask yourself, where does this leave these guys? And if this was their last match, is that the end? Do you want to leave with a match like that? Because the way Goldberg went out last time was perfect. He could have just ended his career. He went to Hall of Fame, boom. He left with a great WrestleMania moment. You look and you go, well, you can't really blame these guys for wanting to go over there and make the kind of money that they're paying, So
no, not at all. I was, I've heard figures as high as $1 to $2 million just for one single match over there. You can't blame anybody for taking that money. But I also wonder, like you said, now it almost leaves both of these gentlemen obligated to come back for one more match. Maybe not against each other, but at some point, because that's not the way anybody wants to go out, brother.
No, and it's they're both very passionate about their craft, and Goldberg, he'll stew on something for years, and I think Taker is the same way. So they're going to be stewing on this, man. I can't say enough again. To me, the fantasy match, the one everybody wanted to see, would have been Sting against Taker. I think that would have been a far more better match. I think they would have went well together, because I still think Sting can go. But I'm always going to say that because I'm a Sting fan, man.
You might be just a little bit biased there, Mike.
I might be a little bit biased, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, man, speaking of botches today, I totally botched the Kofi and Dolph thing there. I had a quote pulled up on my computer, and I've got 96 tabs, and of course couldn't find the one. I was just going to read you like a little segment, a little back and forth from the match when Xavier Woods tried to interrupt there, and I know I kind of went blank there for a moment. Sorry about the audience. We all have our botches. See, everybody botches stuff. But Mike, thank you so much for taking a moment to join us today. Truly appreciate it, brother. It's been a great segment with you, and we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up. You got any closing thoughts before we hop out?
No, I don't, man. I'm just going to say, man, that I'm excited about an independent show that I'm going to today. Revolt Wrestling right here on the Gulf Coast, and we may have a few people that are familiar with that listen to this podcast. So they got a great show going on today. They got a tag team from Ring of Honor that is going to be there, Tough Guys Incorporated, and they always put on a phenomenal show, man. They just Barry had kind of touched on it one time about he had went to the independent show and they had the pyros and the lights, and that's the kind of show this is, man. I mean, they go all out. They pack the house and pyro and lights and just true professionals. So I would just want to send out a shout out to Ryan Fury, send a shout out to Revolt Pro Wrestling. We'll be doing a future interview on those guys, and I'm just really looking forward to the show tonight.
Well, Mike, I'm glad you're going to get down there and check it out. And I'm truly looking forward to it. Well, one, I'm happy you're going to be having a good time, but I'm looking forward to this footage. Hopefully, you're going to get us back some cool footage, cool photos from the show, and you never know what's going to be coming out of this, folks. We might have some cool interviews in the future. I hate to tease anything that won't be coming for sure, but just stay tuned. I promise we got a lot of cool stuff coming. And if you like us out there, folks, give us a thumbs up. Put us over. If not, let us know. We'll do a job for you on your show. That's the way we roll right here on That Wrestling Podcast. And having said that, we will catch you guys on the next one. Wow, got the music way down, Mike. Talk about Botch Fest. Ooh,
yeah, brother.
Yeah. And you can't teach that. Following is a paid advertisement. That Wrestling Podcast is not responsible for any claims, guarantees, or products in this ad.
Hey ladies out there, you having trouble getting somebody to pay you a few dollars? Well, contact Paulie and Paul's Intervention, Mediation, and Protection Services today. Intervention!
You need us to intervene, smack a couple guys around? No problem.
Mediation. We can mediate your problem today. Protection.
You need your money, you need it now. We'll go find them, smack them around. Nobody's got to know a thing.
That's Paulie and Paul's Intervention, Mediation, and Protection Services, also known as PIMP.
The following is a paid advertisement for Dick Drizzle for Congress 2020. As a local business owner for over 20 years, Dick Drizzle has helped to provide jobs and stabilize our economy. As a city councilman, his Clean Streets initiative have our streets cleaner than ever, and we now have our very own 5K marathon. His humble beginnings and modest lifestyle keeps him connected to the people that matter most. Dick Drizzle, his policies work for you. Vote Dick Drizzle for Congress 2020.